Hey guys, if you're into fantasy football, you've got to check out FanDuel.com. At FanDuel, you play in 1-week fantasy football leagues for real money with immediate cash payouts. You only play when you want, and you can change your team any week. FanDuel is paying out over $10 million every week this season. And right now, FanDuel is giving you up to $200 free. That's right. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Click the banner now or go to FanDuel.com, click the radio microphone in the upper right corner, and use promo code BLOGTALK.
Blog Talk Radio.
We are the UR Tennis Network. Our mission is to be the voice of tennis. We enlist a team of passionate enthusiasts to promote our sport. We strive to bring interesting perspectives on the many spins of tennis. Our goal is to provide the learners of our sport with current news and information from many angles. We seek active participation from communities interested in tennis, but tennis is not interested in them. We are expanding our outreach. Tennis is a true lifetime sport that needs to be talked about, and the UR Tennis Network pledges to pursue this idea relentlessly.
Good afternoon, this is Lisa Stone with Parenting Aces, and I'm coming live from the Players Garden at the U.S. Open. We have such a great show today. We have with us the famous Wayne Bryan, father of Bob and Mike Bryan, doubles champions. We have with us Steve Johnson, father to Stevie Johnson, former USC standout who is just making waves on the Pro Tour, and Melanie Rubin, mom to Noah Rubin, our up-and-coming young American player. And I'm just so excited to share the show with all three of them today and talk to them about the various pathways that their kids have taken on their way to the Pro Tour. So, guys, and Melanie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Good to be with you, Lisa.
Great to be here. Excellent, Steve. Thank you. I know y'all are all excited. Melanie, I've been spending a lot of time with her. This is her son's first time in the main draw of the U.S. Open. She has been giggling and just so excited, crying, emotion, lots of stuff. I want to know, does it get old? Does it get stale? Or do you guys still get giddy when you think about what your children are doing?
It gets old and stale.
I don't know about that. I still get pretty excited about being here every year.
No, there's nothing like the U.S. Open. It's unbelievable. Biggest tournament in the world, most fans, most money, most excitement. This place absolutely rocks. I can certainly remember Mike and Bob's first time here. They've been playing here since they were 17. I know Steve remembers Steve's first time. I congratulate Melanie on what a great Wimbledon that Noah had, what a great year he's had.
Thank you.
And I know he's fired up, and I'm expecting him to do well.
So what advice do you seasoned pros have for this newbie mom?
Just enjoy it. It's fun. It's pretty overwhelming at first. Answering all the texts, emails, phone calls can be overwhelming.
How about ticket requests?
Ticket requests. All of a sudden, everybody wants in, and I didn't know how it worked at all. Stevie's first year 5 years ago, he was in qualifying, so you don't get much. And he lost first round, so we kind of came here, had a great time, and left early. This is his fourth year in the main, and it's great. No way around now. It's fun. The people here are great. Get to hang out with guys like Wayne, see all these tennis people that I've been around my whole life, and it's quite a thrill for me still.
It's such an honor and a pleasure for me to be here with both of you and you, Lisa, and getting advice because it certainly has been a whirlwind. It's been a very exciting summer for Noah, and now we live Merrick, Long Island, which is 40 minutes from here. So the ticket requests and the information have quadrupled because all the friends and family want to come and cheer him on, which I love, but it is a bit overwhelming at times.
You have to develop an email that is all ready to be fired out. You'd love to help him, but you can't. You're overwhelmed with ticket requests. That's people say, what do I do mostly? I say I do wash and get tickets to the Bryan brothers. People think it's coaching and all that, but it's not. It's always other
wash,
things.
Huh?
Yeah. I'm a master.
I may hit you up.
A lot of ball pickup, right? A lot of ball pickup.
A lot of ball pickup. All right. Well, so both of you gentlemen, your sons played college tennis. Melanie's son is getting ready to go off for his freshman year at Wake Forest. And there's a lot of chatter around, how long do you stay in college? Now with format changes in college tennis, how valuable will that experience be as he continues to develop toward a pro career? Wayne, starting with you.
I'm a huge fan of going to college, and college tennis I think is the absolute greatest. The boys went 2 years and sort of got ripped out, but I wish they would could have gone all four because they had a wonderful experience. What a great coach they had in Dick Gould and John Whitlinger, all the other guys. I think college tennis is especially in the Pac-10 and the SEC, I think it's like futures tennis. It's not challenger tennis, but it's certainly as good as the futures. And boy, you're getting a great education at the same time. The socialization aspect of it are tremendous. I think my pals Marty Fish and Taylor Dinn and Andy Roddick, they really sort of missed something by going to school. I don't think 1 or 2 or even 3 or 4 years of college will ever be hurtful to anybody. I think it's an unbelievable experience. I played college tennis. Steve played college tennis. It's an unbelievable experience, and I'm so glad to hear that Noah is going and going to do that. And look, if he dominates and wins every single match he plays and wins the NCAAs and the marketplace comes and gets him and rips him out of school, that's one thing. But I sure would go as long as you possibly can.
Couldn't agree more. Stevie was probably ready to go after his sophomore year.
Yep.
Did real well. SG had won 2 titles, so he just said, I'm not giving this up. I remember Peter Smith, one of his funny stories is when they played for their 3rd one at Stanford, he was very nervous because he told his assistant George Usak, if we lose this today, Stevie won't come back next year. But if we win, he'll come back because he's not going to give up a chance to win 4. So there was a lot of extra nerves and pressure there. And the story was when they won it, Stevie jumped into Peter's arms and said, I love you, I'm coming back.
Oh, I love that.
It's a storybook ending. He did choose to come back. They won it again. It doesn't always work that way, but he was willing to do that.
And I think most people consider Stevie the greatest player in the history of college tennis based on what he did and on his unbelievable record, winning so many matches in a row, 4 NCAAs and 2 singles. But one thing I never asked you, if I could just ask him, Lisa.
Uh-oh.
Did Peter, what was his position? Did he say, come on back, Stevie? What did he do, or was he just neutral in the whole experience?
Peter, we didn't sit down and have the actual talk about it as far, with me. He and Stevie probably did. Peter felt Stevie was getting better. We knew Stevie was having fun.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, Michelle, just talked to him and said, Stevie, this is your life.
Right.
And one of Peter's biggest speeches that he gives all the time during the NCAAs is, go out there and have fun. This is a memory. You're going to be 30, 40 years old someday. So I think that's why the guys play loose, and I think that's why they were able to get through those finals all those 4 years, because they weren't afraid. Peter talked them into it. It's a memory. Go create a memory. Don't look back and have regrets. And Stevie completely bought into that. Very similar to what he and I did when he was a kid, when I was coaching him. Go have fun. It's just another match. Have fun, buddy.
Huge key. That's very well said. Very well said.
Yeah. And for Noah, I know he was already, thinking, gosh, am I going to stay 4 years? Am I going to stay 2 years? Am I going to stay 1 year? What's going to happen? Melanie, what are you hearing from his new coach at Wake Forest? And, what are your hopes for him?
Well, first let me say I'm thrilled that Noah is choosing the college path at this point. I am thrilled that he's going to Wake Forest. I'm hoping Tony Bresky and Jeremy Feldman are going to I know they're going to do a fabulous job with him. Noah and I went through orientation week, so he was being the typical freshman. Although a few days early, he was being the typical freshman there, so that was a wonderful experience for him. And I know he's looking forward to both the college tennis and the college experience, but he's going to focus on his tennis. Is he thinking about going more than 1 year? That is definitely still an option, and I hope that option stays open for him, and I hope he stays as long as he feels that it's good for him. I know he's going to have a chance to grow as a tennis player, grow as a person, grow socially. The academics at Wake Forest are wonderful, and I'm just very excited for the whole thing for him.
Very, very well said also.
And I'm just looking, a 4-year Bulldog is walking by John Isner. Nice to see another college guy walking by.
If I could say real quick, John Isner, that was John walking by, and Mike and Bob, Bryan, were huge in Stevie's life. He met them when Stevie was just 5, 6 years old in Bakersfield. We got the picture. Then years later, I actually brought the picture and had Michael Bob sign it. When Stevie was a little kid at the Bakersfield Racket Club right before the Easter Bowl. And then as Stevie was getting ready to go and we were consulting everybody, John Isner was the one who actually sat him down and said, hey, look, 4 years isn't going to hurt you. Look at the age of the tour now. They're all 27, 28. Nobody wins. There's no teenagers in the top 2. What is there, 1, 2 teenagers in the top 200? Wayne through the business, so we had some really good people ahead of us that I could.
Just the insiders and coaches that we decision. But I think in the boys' case, the marketplace came hard, and that was the time it was time now.
Technical issues. Second. No, I'm so sorry.
Then to try to go back blows your mind because you're trying to recreate.
We're in. We're good. We're good. We're on the air. We are good. All right. Let's keep talking. I'm so sorry to my listeners. I'm sitting outside and Wi-Fi is a bit spotty out here. But so, Melanie, do you have any questions for these experiences?
You know, the coaching, dad, parents, you know, way when your boys played?
That's a fabulous question that I could talk hours about. That doesn't apply to that the way you framed the question, but I know Steve agrees with it. It's just that whole concept of who's going to be coaching your child and and I just don't think that's the way. Talking about Tiger Woods, I think one of the things that hurt him
Yes.
I felt Peter.
On the air, I think. Hello, we are back on the air. Yay! Okay, so, all right, go ahead, Melanie. Sorry, we are back on the air, folks.
Okay, well, I was just wondering. I mean, I pretty much know the answer to the question, I think. Noah's sister, Jessie, she played tennis at Binghamton University, and her experience with her teammates, her experience with her coach, Libby, first Mike Stevens, and then Libby McGovern, they were just unbelievable experiences, and while her aspirations are very different from what Noah's are, it was just their relationships and the living together and working together is just invaluable. And like I said, I think I know the answer to this question, but if you two can just address what the college team experience means and meant to you guys and meant to your boys, I'd really love to hear about that.
You've already expressed it well. I don't even think there's a question here. I just 100% agree that college tennis has been a great experience for so many reasons. You learn so many life lessons. You get the socialization. I just went to the UCSB Hall of Fame, I'm proud to say,
I took a picture of that.
February 18th. And when I stood up to address everybody, I said, I took 4 years of a Greek history course, 4 units for a year. And you know what I remember about Greek history as an old guy? I filled 26 pages in my blue book on a 3-hour final. You know what I remember about Greek history? One sentence. The Greek polis is the cradle of democracy. That's all I remember. I took a Samuelson econ course for a year. The only thing I remember is macro and micro, and I don't know what those two words mean. In Spanish, I only remember como se llama, mi amo Jaime, because there was no Wayne in Spanish. Anyway, the point is, but I'll never forget the practices. I never forget my teammates, my coaches, the trips, all the things we went through, the ups, the downs, the wins, the losses. The college experience was central to my college experience. And I think Stevie Johnson would say the exact same thing. He had a phenomenal experience. He went in as a skinny little freshman and came out a stud man ball player, you know. I want college experience for as many of our American kids as possible. Playing in college is not about being a pro. If you get struck by lightning, okay, you're a pro. You got that much chance of making it on the tour. But the college experience is achievable and fantastic for all American kids.
Steve, how does Stevie feel about that?
Peter Smith will be a part of Stevie's life forever. And all his teammates. My own personal story, my college coach turned 81 this year. My wife and Michelle and I spent a week with him last year in Hawaii. He lives in Hawaii. And I spent a week with him. He's still part of my life. I still ask him questions. He helps me. You know, next to my father, my coach, Lee Ramirez, is still a very important man. Peter Smith has been the greatest thing for Stevie. After being to Peter, now on to this new program, and now Greg Boyd. He's a wonderful man, good people. So couldn't agree more.
How do y'all feel about what's going on with the format in college tennis, going to no ad, clinch. How do you think that's going to impact our young players that are considering college tennis?
You know, I don't see, what's the hurry? They talk about we're going to get college tennis on TV. I don't think you want to change the whole format because there's technological ways to trim up those matches a little bit. You can shorten up this and shorten up in terms of the 10-minute break and start the matches on time and blah, blah, blah. I just hate meddling with the sport so much. Leave it alone. It's the greatest thing we've got going. I love the doubles to start the match. People go crazy watching those three doubles matches at the beginning. Trim up the best part of the whole match.
You know what? I'm not sure exactly how it's going to end up. I'm actually very thankful to Stevie in college, and I don't have to make a decision on that. I think it's making it tricky for people like Melanie. Kids are in that position who can want to move to the next level. So we'll see what happens.
It'll be interesting. I know my son's a high school senior this year, so going through the recruiting process, I mean, he is not at this level. So for him, college tennis is going to happen regardless. But I am hearing a lot of chatter among the kids in Noah's group, that, are we going to choose that pathway? Melanie, has Noah talked about that at all? Has that been part of his decision-making?
It is. He's disappointed in the way that it's going right now. But I think it's premature for anybody to really say how it's going to go, whether that means for Noah or for any of the other players. Let's see how it pans out.
Great. So any other advice you guys care to share with this newbie mom as she embarks on this journey? I mean, one of the biggest challenges, I think, is the emotional highs and lows through this. How have you guys managed that? Are you doing yoga? Are you meditating? How do you manage it?
I think you have to have minimum expectation and maximum motivation.
I love that.
It's a tough league. Just take one day at a time. Enjoy it. Have fun. I mean, I'm a huge believer in enjoying it. Have fun each and every day. Make friends out here on the tour. Make the tour a warm place to be. If everybody's your enemy, you're not going to enjoy it too much. But you got to be able to sleep on an airplane. You got to be able to say no to tickets, and have fun each and every day.
The college experience is different for some of these kids because they have been on teams. Stevie's best time is when he's on a team. That's another reason why he stayed in college. Mike and Bob have played Davis Cup forever, and it's hard for some kids. They actually don't perform well in that situation because there's more pressure because they're playing for those guys over there on the bench. Exactly. If Stevie were to get a chance to play Davis Cup, I mean, that's the dream. I think it will happen at some point. It happens now. That's great. The Olympics, and all these things. He has always lived. It's funny, he's a tennis player because he's always been a team sport guy. And he played all the sports, but tennis was where he was going. He's the rise man. He loves it. He would be on the team right now if he could. He played team tennis for the team that 1 year, but Desert was really very rough on him. It's a tough 18 days.
let me just say, interjecting there with what Steve said, Big Steve. I mean, I'm 100% agree that tennis makes a great team sport. The more we have junior teams, high school teams, college teams, adult teams, Davis Cup teams, the better and healthier our sport will be. And also, tell the kids to play doubles as often as you can, because that's a team sport. I love mixed doubles, and so do the kids. The more we program for teams, doubles, and mixed, the healthier our overall sport will be.
Good advice. It's interesting because while tennis is often an individual sport, that team feeling, I mean, Noah's been blessed enough to have opportunities. He played for the U.S. and Junior Davis Cup and so forth. And when he won Junior Wimbledon, he says one of the most special moments to him was when Stefan brought that American flag out and the two of them paraded around the court, and he really feels like he's part of this young American team. And he's hoping they all do well together. And it was one of the greatest moments of his life. He said he really felt the impact of how big it all was when Stefan brought out that American flag. And, it's just, I'm thrilled for this next stage in college tennis for him to be part of a team, and I know he'll make that transition well.
You guys both coached your kids coming up and handed them over to their college coaches and then to their professional coaches, but you're both
slightly handed over.
Slightly handed. Right. But you're both still very present on the tour when they're playing. And I wanted to ask you, how was it, if you can remember, because I know this was a while ago for you, Wayne, but how was it to make that start to let go and develop the trust in the other coaches and the other people in their lives to take the care of them that you've always taken?
Right. Well, I write in my book about the glide path out begins early. Even in the 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, I had them sometimes go out with other parents or other coaches in the team. And that's always, but we're always 100% there. I mean, I'm going to be on the practice court with them today. I talk to them about their games all the time. I'm always communicating. So I didn't just totally abdicate. Even at Stanford, I went to many a practice that in. And like with Big Steve and Peter, I mean, there was a smooth relationship there, so that you're not always there, but, you don't just turn your children over to other people, either to raise, or to coach. Those people that send their young children off to academies and camp, I just don't understand that. I mean, I want to raise my own children. And so we've maintained a close relationship, but you're not, it's just a diminished situation. They got to be their own biz now and call their own shots, of course. But once the dad, always the dad. Once the coach, always the coach.
How about for you, Steve?
Very similar. It was easy enough for me to hand him to Peter because Peter involved me. Peter talked to me daily on the phone. What did you see? How would you do it? And so that was great for me. As a pro, it's been different. I've not had that role at all. I'll be on the practice court today, but I just sit there. I watch. It's just a different relationship. But I'm dad. I think we had this conversation last year, and it's a role that I love being dad. I'm a coach.
Right.
Tricky.
Right.
It's funny, when both Jesse and Noah were little, we started out, Noah's dad and I were married at that time, and he would feed the kids balls, and I would run around in the back picking up the balls and whispering words of encouragement to them as they would play. Then I worked at the tennis club, so my kids got lessons. And while I was there, making sure things were going well, I wasn't handling the tennis per se aspect of things, and I took up more of a mom. I think that it's important that Noah has a little bit of both, and I think that, we were talking tonight, when we go home tonight before his match tomorrow, we're not even going to talk about tennis. We'll probably rent a movie. My parents are in town, and, my mom will cook dinner, and, being away from it, being not coach and just mom, I think that's a good goal for me for now and always.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just Noah does have his first U.S. Open main draw match tomorrow. I mean, no big deal. He just worked his last 18 years to reach this spot, and oh my God, Melanie, it's your little boy that's going to be out there playing. Do you guys, do you have a memory of that very first pro match?
Yeah, the boys were 17 at the first U.S. Open. They had won Kalamazoo's first-year players, and they weighed about 125, 130 pounds. They were about 5'4", 5'5", skinny as skinny could be. They were so skinny, in fact, all the teachers in high school kept marking them absent. We had to tell them they were actually there. But anyway, they went out on the practice court for the party, and the guys there say, we're not getting off for ball boys. So they had to run back in the locker room and bring out their A badge and hold it right in the guy's face as a player. And finally they got off. And then the next year the USTA gave T-shirts that said, we are not ball boys.
I love it. Steve, do you remember Stevie's first pro match?
Absolutely. The USTA came a wild card when he was at USC. He played Noah Mulcoon of Israel on court 4. First time Peter and I had ever seen Stevie nervous.
And how about you?
Played badly. I was terrified.
He's always nervous.
I sit calmly, but inside, I've got 911 on the speed dial. But it's a memory I'll never forget. Peter and I were both sitting in the stands going, what's wrong? What's wrong? And then later he admitted, he goes, that's the first time in my life I was nervous on a tennis court. His comment was, I was afraid if I don't win this, the USTA won't give me another chance.
Oh.
Which was totally not true.
Right.
But that's what was in his head, and he had way too much pressure and then played poorly because of it. So, great memory. First trip to New York. I brought Stevie here with Rance Brown, UCLA's women's coach, when he was 8. And we showed him his place, put in his mind, and said, Stevie, this is your house someday. This is where you're going to go and play someday. Stevie's got his UCLA shirt and hat on. It's in my office in my club. It's funny now that he's a USC guy, but it's a very vivid memory to me, one they'll always remember.
And that's one of the greatest things you can do with a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old. Take them to the U.S. Open, take them to a college match, take them to a pro match. Champions take it into their eyes. You must see it before you can dream it. You must be passionate about it before you can achieve it. Taking youngsters to tennis at the highest level is absolute awesome and fantastic. It should be required of every county coach.
That's great. I mean, the men's and women's qualities for the U.S. Open, it's free. The tickets are free. So is college tennis. They need to come down. And I've heard people say this, but unfortunately not enough people are doing it. Bring your young players down. Have them watch college tennis. Any college tennis. Whatever's closest to you, or travel to go see something that you've heard about, go. And honestly, they couldn't get a better experience.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, that's been our experience. My son changed his whole tactics toward camp at UGA when he was 9 years old. All of a sudden, it's like, I want to play there, and it's the same as what you were saying with Stevie, that, this is your house. And it's very exciting to watch that developmental process happen.
Stevie went to many USC matches before he walked in the gate to play for this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And even though he grew up going to UCLA or being friends with Rance, and we have the same thing in our house. I'm a Bruin. My husband's a Bruin. Our daughter chose to go to USC, and she's a Trojan, and we hung that Trojan flag proudly while she was there. She's okay.
As a kid, Rance Brown has been a good friend. We played each other in golf in 1977 and have been friends since. And Rance worked at a club near me, and at 3, 4, 5 years old, we could tell Stevie was better than a normal player. So I take him over to Rance and say, am I a crazy dad thinking this kid's good? You got to help himself. Rance was the one who would help me the most with developing Stevie, keeping an eye on him. I would screen him over periodically. Rance had some good boys who played with him. Rance has been a big part of this as well.
I want to ask you about that because, of course, lots of parents think that their child has something special and thinks that they have the potential to play at the U.S. Open one day. What advice do you have for those parents? I mean, how do you get that reality check?
The first thing I'd always say is you have a much better chance of being struck and killed by lightning than you have making it on the Pro Tour. Actually, you have a 10 times better chance of getting killed by lightning this year in America. Google that. And so you have to understand that that's really, really, really rarefied air. No matter if you're number one today, no matter if you do blah, 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 there's no guarantee. It's so tough out there. But I love people dreaming the big dreams. I think playing on a high school team is realistic goal. Playing on a college team at some levels are realistic goal. And there's nothing wrong with dreaming the dream to be assured. And anybody who says that this kid's going to make it for sure is nuts. There ain't no such thing. I remember there was a girl playing at a tournament in South Bay when the boys were in. She was like winning the 14th. I looked at Kathy, and this girl was like number one in Southern Cal. I said, "Do you think this girl will ever play pro tennis?" She says, she might make the top 200. I said, "There's no way she'll ever be 1,000 in the world." And the last I looked, she's in the Hall of Fame. Her name is Lindsay Davenport.
What did you know?
She was the slowest athlete I have ever seen, but I forgot to take a look at those brownies, how she snapped them, and nobody snapped them like she did. And she got around that speed thing and became, a Hall of Fame player.
Right. And what did you see in Stevie?
Well, Stevie is incredibly competitive. He's been that way from day one. Got in trouble at school because he was too competitive. Teacher said he's got to be nice. Very gifted. He didn't kick serves at 5, didn't one-handed backhand, two-handed backhand. He just did things. And then he and I would watch matches, and he would tell me what the guy should do. He would actually tell me, why isn't James Blake or why isn't Taylor Dent doing that? And so it was pretty weird. It was pretty weird. But along with what Wayne said, I don't want to step on anybody's dream. I'm not here to choose. As Wayne said, Lindsay Davenport, who would have thought? I saw Lindsay at 12. She couldn't run. She turned out to be one of the finest players ever. She was really tall really early. But most people don't know that only 4% of high school athletes play college. So college is a dream. And that's quite an achievement if you play college. So
all you need is from college to play.
And then less weight, a piece of a percent, make money. When I talk about, I say, turning pro is easy. Turn pro. Go play futures. Get an IPID card. Go be a pro. That's easy. Go make money. That's a fully different.
As far as dreams coming true, so many of Noah's dreams have been realized so far. What's going to happen tomorrow? And when I mean tomorrow, I don't mean necessarily just his first match at the U.S. Open ever, but tomorrow meaning the future. What's going to happen? Nobody has a crystal ball. And I realize that. Noah realizes that. And, he's enjoying the for what it is. There's obviously been a lot of media hype surrounding all of our boys. Noah particularly, hometown, our local papers, and there's been a lot of hype. But Noah realizes that a lot of things came together, a lot of hard work, a lot of years, a lot of sacrifices, and a lot of stars aligning to get him to where he is right now. So, like I've been saying, and, he's saying it, savor the moment, seize the day, and what will come after that, we don't know. But you know what? He's been dreaming of this. He's been dreaming of this particular moment since he's in diapers, literally. And I thank God for everything that he's gotten so far and how hard he's worked. And today and tomorrow, let him just enjoy. What will be, will be.
Beautifully said. You're right on the money.
What advice can you guys give regarding this media hype? I mean, this has been something that's been really interesting to watch, and I know both of y'all have gone through this with your boys as well. Every second of the day, I'm spending a lot of time with Melanie this week. Her phone is going off the hook with, notifications on Facebook, Twitter messages, all kinds of stuff that this article's coming out, that reporter wants to talk to her. How do you help a young, aspiring professional handle that?
I was told a long time ago by somebody who's gone through it, don't read about yourself. You're never as good as they write. You're never as bad as they write. Just stay true to yourself.